Hi and welcome to my channel. So I've got very important news today regarding nursing in the UK. So the Nursing and Midwifery Council, that's the NMC, which is the nursing and midwifery regulator in the UK, has recently announced some really important and vital changes regarding nursing. So these changes are going to have a huge impact on you depending on the situation. So if you're already in the UK, these are very positive changes, for you. But if you're still out of the UK, look, these changes are not good because an end is coming to overseas nurse recruitment in the UK. So, like I say, depending on which side of the table you are, it's going to be good or very, very bad news indeed. So sorry if you're still out of the UK and you're watching this video because, like I say, an end is coming to overseas nurse recruitment in the UK from these policies. So if you're new to the channel, it's such a privilege to have you on here. And obviously, if you're a returning subscriber, I appreciate the time you take to watch these videos. And I do hope that you're implementing everything that I talk about because, like I said, this year is all about implementation. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you do want to hit subscribe right now. Turn on that notification button because you want 100% be the first person to be notified when I drop a new video on here. But look, there's something even more important that you can do. I have a newsletter where I send the most up-to-date information about updates in the UK, career progression in the UK, because as you know, or if you don't know and you're new here, again, I'm going to tell you, my name is Melvis. I studied in the UK as an international student and now work as an advanced nurse practitioner. I also have a private career coaching service where I support nurses, carers, student nurses, prospective student nurses, UK aspirants with kind of career progression in the UK. So if you are a carer and you're looking for the best opportunity to progress in the UK, look, check out my private coaching program. If you're a nurse and you're like, oh my goodness, now I'm in the UK, what else can I do? What else is there to me? How can I specialize? How can I, become, I don't know, a nurse anesthetist, a nurse manager, an advanced nurse practitioner, whatever it is that you want to do. Again, you want to get in contact with me ASAP after you watch this video to make sure that you get started, because look, you don't want to be stuck in the same position because it is not worth it, especially if you've come from overseas, you've come this far, you've gone through all these processes. You don't want to get stuck at band 5, band 6, band 7, or even band 8. So that's what I'm all about. And if you check the comment section below, I'm going to drop a link to my newsletter where you can join that newsletter and I can send you updates directly to your email, because again, you don't want to be relying on the YouTube algorithm to find information that is so impactful to your life and to your career as a nurse, carer, or somebody who is just keen on getting into nursing or even healthcare in the UK. So you want to check that newsletter in the comment section. Make sure that you join. It's not even going to take you up to 30 seconds. All you need is your name and your email. Like I say, it's not going to take 30 seconds for you to do that, and you're part of that newsletter. And then if there's any important updates, such as what I'm going to be talking about in this video, then obviously I send it directly to you. If you've also got a question that you want to ask me that is more private, you don't necessarily want to leave it on here, you can use that newsletter to send me that message because it's got all my contact as well. So again, if you haven't subscribed, you want to hit subscribe. So let's get started. What are these changes? These changes, are going to make a massive difference. Somebody like me, I support nurses with career progression. I'm a nurse myself. I'm very keen on policies that are there to influence and impact nursing in the UK and even worldwide positively. And I know a good policy when I see one. And I can say that whoever from the NMC that decided to propose this policy has done a wonderful job and definitely deserve a pay rise, because this policy alone is going to have a massive impact in nursing in the UK within the next few years. And look, this policy has already been approved and is due to start in the next few weeks, which means that it is something that is already agreed. It is a signed, sealed, and delivered deal. So what are the changes? The first change is that the NMC has decided to say that each university is going to decide on its own requirements. So if you are admitting students to a university, what should you be looking out for? Which means that it's not going to be like a whole universal list of requirements, but each university can kind of be flexible and decide what they should or shouldn't accept. And look, this is something that is huge because, as you know, a university is a business. Yes, for you and I, it's an institution where we go to get knowledge. They should not be biased. It should be XYZ. But the truth is, it is a business for somebody and they're there to make money. So if they have the chance to be able to decide on those requirements, the truth is that they're going to take more students. But that's not even all. Another really important policy that the NMC has already agreed on, which means that they've already, again, signed, sealed, and delivered, is the fact that they want more simulation hours. So basically, as it stands right now, if you train in the UK, so you do your nursing course in the UK, for you to get registered with the Nursing and Midwifery Council, to get that PIN number to work as a nurse, you need to do at least 2,300 of practice hours. So clinical placement or apprenticeship, whatever you want to call it, you need to do at least 2,300 of those hours. The NMC has decided to say that with those practice hours, you can do 600 of them as simulation. This is something that is huge. Again, it's going to significantly increase the number of people that universities are able to accept onto the nursing courses, because if you're able to do simulated placements, in fact, to put this into context, in the UK alone, nursing is one of the courses that has the highest number of applicants every single year. And in the last 2 years, the number of overseas applicants has increased dramatically, which means that when you go to many of the nursing courses right now, there are many overseas applicants. And look, I have contributed massively to this because in my private coaching program, I support people that want to study nursing. So I've been able to encourage so many people that would never have even imagined that they wanted to study nursing. They're now at uni, and some of them have already graduated. And I've got more people that I'm currently, supporting through that journey. In fact, this month alone, 4 carers, from my private coaching program who came to the UK just end of last year have already started their nursing this month, which means that, these are things that even for me, as somebody who is supporting people through this journey, I highly support and welcome this. So what does this actually mean, having 600 hours as simulation instead of proper physical placement? So simulation is where you have like a made up word kind of. So it's like a virtual placement. So you have a scenario where you've got patients, for example, to care for, but they're not real people. And look, this is something that is going to be a game changer, because as a nurse myself, I would like to see more virtual working opportunities in the profession for those of us that are already nurses. But also, it is very welcome to have student nurses actually undergo those, simulated and virtual placements, because most of the times they don't have enough spaces, physical placements for people to physically go in. And this is one of the biggest reasons why universities are limited to how many people they can accept onto nursing courses, which means that every single year in the UK, universities can only offer places for about half of the people that apply to study nursing. If you imagine that if they can double the number of, student nurses, what impact is that going to have? Which means that if you're somebody who is out of the UK, look, it is going to end. Overseas nurse recruitment in the UK, as we know it right now, is not here to stay. With these policies that the NMC has now implemented, I can assure you that all of that is going to change dramatically. The numbers from next year are going to fall drastically when it comes to overseas nurse recruitment. And last year, in 2022, the NMC actually had a meeting, with International Nursing Council. So there were nursing leaders from all other countries. In fact, when I had a look at the people that were represented, there was no representation from Africa. And I was like, really? But anyway, I don't know if they were invited and they couldn't attend, or they didn't get an invite. I'm not sure what happened. But they had the International Nursing Council, they had a meeting here in the UK. And during that meeting, all of them were accusing the UK of recruiting too many nurses from overseas. And everybody has said the UK needs to stop recruiting overseas and find policies where they can recruit more of their own nurses to do these nursing courses so that they stop recruiting overseas. And so in the last year, especially, since the NMC announced that almost half of the nurses joining the NMC register were from overseas, they decided to be working on these policies to significantly reduce overseas nurse recruitment. And that is how this policy came about. And like I say, I'm somebody who's keen on policies. I can see this absolutely working and being very successful from next year, from the next 2 to 3 years. It is going to have a huge impact, because especially with the carer pathway, so many people have come into the UK and they're keen on progressing into nursing. So if these people are trained to become nurses, then there is no need to recruit overseas nurses to come to the UK. And the numbers are going to go down drastically like it has been over the years. Because like I say, overseas nurse recruitment as we know it now in the UK has not always been the case. So again, these are the policies. Also, the World Health Organization has highly criticized the UK for their overseas nurse recruitment, and they have also given the UK an ultimatum to train more of their own nurses. And again, that is where these policies are coming from, because the NMC's priority obviously has been to find strategies to train more nurses in the UK in order to reduce and hopefully stop overseas nurse recruitment. And look, like I say, all the policies that I've implemented with regards to this are wonderful, fantastic policies that I can see being very successful. So if you're overseas and you've been sitting and thinking, oh my God, do I want to go to the UK? Do I not? Should I do my IELTS? Should I do my OET? Is it time? This is the time. You need to make hay while the sun shines, because like I say, there's going to be a drastic reduction in overseas nurse recruitment with all these policies. And that's why even the English changes, the NMC hasn't even started implementation, because I've been working on these other changes and policies, because it's all about prioritizing, isn't it? Because everybody's been accusing the UK, you keep recruiting so many nurses overseas. People are saying you need more policies in order to retain more of the nurses that you have in the UK. And yes, these are the policies that they are currently working on. And these policies, I'm telling you, have already been approved. And the NMC has said that they are going to start in the next few weeks. So not months, not years, in the next few weeks, because the council has already approved these changes. So again, these simulated hours is going to make a massive difference. It's going to make a huge difference to overseas recruitment, because if you look that, if 600 hours, that is about 25% of the total placement hours that you need in order to become a qualified nurse in the UK, which means that if you can do 25% of your hours in a simulated virtual environment, you can definitely accept more nurses, because like I said, universities are unable to accept more people to study nursing because of the need for physical placement. Because if you're going to a hospital ward, if the hospital ward can only take one student on placement, you can't put any more students on there, because those students need time to be told, they need time to be mentored, they need the physical space as well. It is not easy. So these virtual placements are going to significantly increase the number of, places that universities can accept. And let me tell you another change. So again, if you like this video, I want you to make sure that you let me know, like the video if you're enjoying the content. If you haven't subscribed, I also want you to hit subscribe right now, and also make sure that you join my newsletter. I'm going to leave the link in the comment section below, so that when you join, if there's important information such as this, you're not relying on the YouTube algorithm, and I can send it directly to your inbox. Because look, this is information that is life changing, it is career changing, whether you're in the UK as a nurse or wanting to do nursing, or you're still out of the UK, most importantly, because like I say, these policies are going to make a huge difference in overseas nurse recruitment. The numbers are going to fall dramatically, which is what the NMC has been working towards in the last few years. So again, you want to make hay while the sun shines. If you're in the UK, this is an amazing opportunity. This is a great time for you to get into nursing. If you are still out of the country, this is the last chance for you, to try and get in, because once all these policies are in place and all the thousands of people that are now in the UK keen to get into nursing and they start getting in, there's going to be no room recruiting from overseas. Because when you recruit from overseas, there's a time to train the nurses, there's a time for them to acclimatize, there's a time for them to get used to the system, to understand the culture, the patients. It is not easy. There are so many challenges with recruiting from overseas. So obviously, when you recruit people who have trained in the UK, it doesn't mean that they don't have challenges, but at least they already have an idea of what the system is like. Like me, I did my training in the UK. If I had trained overseas, I don't know, it's so challenging even when you train here. So imagine training overseas is going to pose even more challenges. And then there's another change as well. So when the UK was part of the EU, the UK was obliged to follow EU regulation. But look, a few years ago, the British people voted to leave the European Union. And this particular decision, the NMC has decided to take advantage of this situation. And the NMC has looked at the legislation from the EU and said, look, now that we are out of the EU, we no longer need to adhere to all these principles and all these policies that the EU has given. So the NMC has voted, yes, signed, sealed, and delivered to stop, the EU regulation. And this regulation was really around places that are acceptable for student nurses to undertake placements. This means that, for example, the regulation would have said, you need a clinical environment for example, or you need so many hours face to face as a student nurse. But now the NMC has completely scrapped that, which means that student nurses are going to have a wide variety of placements that are more relevant for their experience rather than following all the EU laws. Again, this gives all the chances for the universities to be able to be flexible and to be able to set up their own, requirements for placements, their own criteria. Is again, we're talking about virtual placements. If you have a virtual placement for say 6 months, for example, many students will welcome that, because when you're virtual, it's a lot easier. You probably don't have to drive in, all the parking, the traffic, childcare. You don't have any of that. So that's going to work brilliantly. And also, this is going to open opportunities for the future, where nurses can also work virtually. And it's something that I really welcome. And the NMC is talking about nursing in the future being more flexible and being more kind of 21st century nursing. And I'm like, yes, that is perfect, because it's something that is 100% needed. And so these are some of the changes that they've said. Another change also is that, which is so massive, is that the NMC is considering reducing the actual number of placement hours. So like I said, currently you need to do 2,300 hours over the course of your nursing course for you to register with the NMC. But the NMC wants to reduce these number of hours. Imagine being a student nurse and having to do fewer hours than the 2,300. It makes a massive positive difference. Not only is this going to help more people to get into nursing, but it's going to increase retention and increase success rates for the current and future student nurses. Again, all these policies are going to significantly reduce the need for overseas recruitment, because any policy, I can assure you, any single policy that increases retention in the UK, that helps nurses in the UK, that policy will indirectly reduce the need for overseas recruitment. That is how it works. It is something that it goes either way. Any policy that is bad for nurses in the UK, it means that many people are going to leave the profession, others won't want to join, and so the need for overseas recruitment is going to increase. But obviously, policies like these policies that I'm talking about in this video, that are amazing for nurses in the UK, these policies are meant and will 100% reduce the need for overseas recruitment back to how it used to be. Look, the UK hasn't always been this way. I remember when I came to study nursing in the UK, it took me forever to get to find a place, and that's because overseas nurses were not allowed. Overseas international students were not allowed to study nursing in the UK at the time. And look, this is only a few years ago I'm talking about. So the whole thing about nursing in the UK, international students studying nursing, overseas nurses joining the register, almost the same number as UK nurses. These things are all new and only in the last couple of years or so. So again, it's not going to stay. COVID obviously exacerbated the whole situation, but now COVID is kind of gone, hopefully. And so you can expect that these changes are going to have a huge impact. Again, what do you think about these changes? I would like you to leave a comment in the comment section. How are these changes going to affect you? Again, there's another change. So another change obviously is that there's going to be more flexibility for entry requirements. So previously, you kind of needed about 12 years of study before you could get into nursing. Again, now the NMC has decided to scrap that completely, so that other communities, people who are such as refugees, they gave an example of refugees, and they also gave an example of traveling communities. So travelers, because these are people that they don't necessarily have 12 years of continuous education, but they may also be interested in studying nursing. So it's about encouraging diversity within nursing and ensuring that even if you don't have extensive prior education, you're still able to study in the UK to become a nurse if you're in the UK. So what do you think about these changes and all these policies? These are going to significantly reduce the need for overseas recruitment, which is what everybody has been accusing the UK of in the last few years. The World Health Organization, the International Nursing Council, even just people in the UK, leaders, the Royal College of Nursing. So how do you feel about these changes? If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I want you to hit subscribe right now. Turn on that notification button, because you 100% want to be the first person to be notified when I drop a new video on here. Also, if you haven't joined my newsletter, I don't want you relying on the YouTube algorithm to have information that is pertinent for you, information that is vital for your growth, such as this, information that is career changing for you and for your family, and you just randomly are not informed. So again, join that newsletter. be part of my world. But most importantly, if you're out of the UK or in the UK and you 100% want to join my private coaching program, because then I'm able to support you, on a closer level, that one-to-one support that you really need and deserve to continue to excel, to thrive, and to achieve the best outcome that you're able to achieve. Because look, if you're out of the UK, getting to the UK is not really the main objective. Yes, it is a huge achievement that you've done, but then how do you carry yourself when you're in the UK? How do you progress? Do you just stay stuck at the same position? No, you need to be able to do more. You need to push yourself, and that is what my program does, to make sure that you're succeeding, you're excelling, you're thriving, and you're going for the best positions. Because look, times are hard, the cost of living is very high in the UK. The pay is very low, hence the strikes. So what you want to do is find positions that are going to pay you more money so that you can make more money, work fewer hours. Many of us have kids, we've got children. You don't want to be paying people for childcare. You want to make sure that you're working fewer hours, earning more money through career progression. That is exactly what I do. That's exactly what my goal is, what my objective is. And joining my private coaching program, this is a place where I can support you with that. Even if you're out of the country and you're wanting to move to the UK ASAP, you want the process, you don't want to be wasting any time. Again, my private coaching program is going to support you with that. If you're already in the UK, you want to take advantage of these opportunities from the NMC to develop into nursing, so you're a carer, or even if you're not in healthcare, again, my private coaching program will support you to achieve that goal, get the best pathway for you, because some of these pathways are funded, others are not funded. You have to pay fees, some are free, but it is important that you know which is the best pathway for you. And again, this is information that is vital. You don't want to choose the wrong pathway, without going for the best position. So again, thank you. I want you to leave the comments in the comment section. What do you think about these policies? Where do you fall? Are you already in the UK? Are you out of the UK? How do you feel about these NMC's policies? Thank you, and keep watching the videos. Bye for now.